There are three uncomfortable truths few are willing to say out loud. Mount Kenya politics is often explained emotionally, but elections are not won by emotion alone. They are won by numbers, fear, memory, and cold political arithmetic. When you strip away the noise, there are three powerful reasons why Mount Kenya could quietly, even reluctantly, find its way back to President William Ruto ahead of 2027. Today, we examine three uncomfortable truths explaining why Mount Kenya could, without fanfare, without apology, find itself drifting back to President William Ruto by 2027. Not out of love, out of logic. Let's start with the thing no one in Mount Kenya likes to say out loud. No one in Mount Kenya ever says this openly, but history is brutally clear. The biggest reason Mount Kenya voters turned against Uhuru Kenyatta and later against William Ruto was not economics, not taxation, not even governance. It was Raila Odinga. For nearly 3 generations, Mount Kenya residents were conditioned, politically, culturally, almost instinctively, to view Raila Odinga as an existential threat. Not a policy threat, a spiritual one. Not because of development records, but because of decades of political storytelling that framed him as the other, the disruptor, the danger. So when Uhuru shook hands with Raila, Mount Kenya felt betrayed. When Ruto partnered with Raila, the suspicion returned, instantly and violently. But now, that factor is gone. That chapter is closed. Raila Odinga is dead and buried in Bondo. There is no handshake to fear. No succession chessboard to panic over. No looming Raila presidency to mobilize against. And suddenly, Ruto, just like Uhuru Kenyatta today in retirement, is no longer perceived as scheming against Mount Kenya through Raila. That single psychological shift alone changes everything. Funny how fear evaporates when the ghost disappears. Number 2. President Ruto's most devastating political move was not economic. It was appointing Professor Kithure Kindiki as deputy president. With one appointment, Ruto did what decades of opposition politics could not do. He neutralized the Gikuyu, Embu, and Meru, GEMA political mobilization outfit. Here's the uncomfortable math. The Mount Kenya political machine only works with Embu and Meru fully locked in. Without them, the numbers simply don't add up. You can chant Wantam all day, but without Embu and Meru, it becomes motivational speaking, not a strategy. After President William Ruto's UDA candidate win in Mbir North, the reality is now sinking in. For the first time, the Gikuyu political elite is confronting a brutal truth. Without Embu, without Meru, there is no viable path to national power. Wantam without numbers is not resistance, it is self-sabotage. This is why Mount Kenya's mood has shifted, and this is why Mount Kenya's posture toward Ruto today is not forgiveness. It is resignation, a surrender to arithmetic, a quiet acceptance that the political war was miscalculated and the battlefield has shifted. A realization that continuing the rebellion could send the region, not Ruto, into the opposition wilderness. Ironically, the only thing that could reignite serious anti-Ruto momentum in Mount Kenya is ODM walking out of government and formally joining the opposition. Which explains something curious. Mount Kenya now leads in polls calling for ODM to exit the broad-based government. Not because of ideology. This is survival instinct. Desperation is a powerful political motivator. And lastly, at number 3, let's talk about the opposition's favorite comfort blanket. Kalonzo Musyoka. If the opposition wanted to design the least inspiring presidential candidate possible, they would still struggle to do worse than Kalonzo Musyoka. 40 years in politics, no signature development footprint, no legacy project, No national or even local transformation story. No, this is what I did moment. The road to his own home in Sekuru, Mwingi North, dusty, treacherous, unforgiving, has become a national metaphor. Kalonzo was nearly as long-serving in parliament as Mwai Kibaki. Yet compare Mwingi North to Othaya, and the contrast is devastating. Now here's where Mount Kenya's political memory becomes brutal. If Mount Kenya abandoned Uhuru Kenyatta, their own son, and later punished William Ruto, simply for accommodating Raila and the Luo political base, then Kalonzo represents an even greater risk. His recent high-profile pilgrimages to Bondo tell a clear story. If elected president, Kalonzo would prioritize a handshake with the Raila base long before satisfying Rigathi Gachagua's transactional demands. That's not speculation. That's history, which makes rallying the opposition behind Kalonzo less of a strategy and more of a slow, polite funeral. Mount Kenya is not falling back to Ruto because it loves him. It is driven by fear of isolation, memory of betrayal, and cold arithmetic. It's drifting back because politics is not a romance. It's a survival game. Ruto does not need to be adored. He only needs to be the least threatening option. And right now, William Ruto is not the favorite option. He is the least threatening one. Sometimes, in politics, that's enough. So the question is yours. What do you think is the real direction of Mount Kenya politics heading into 2027? Is the region headed back to Ruto by default, or toward another political gamble? Let us know in the comments. If this analysis helped cut through the noise, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to Kenya 2027 Watch for more clear-eyed, data-driven political breakdowns you won't hear anywhere else. We're here on a serious mission to separate the facts from the propaganda.